Right, welcome back, OnSide SA, and we've managed to get our list of who's left and last one standing right down.
Paul, I thought there were going to be a lot more casualties on the weekend. 53 going into round 6. Only 7 went out and 4 were on Liverpool. Can you
Again,
believe?
Liverpool, destructive.
Liverpool have tortured everybody this season.
Tortured everybody. Liverpool, Brentford and Fulham were the guys that went missing. And Arsenal took 18 through. Spurs came through late with 5. And let's have a look at the 3 ladies remaining. That's wonderful. It's, they're going well. And their percentage is lower this time.
Yeah. Paul, I've seen their picks.
Okay, for this week.
Yeah.
Bianca Coote.
Yes. Yeah.
Julie Usher, I know exactly who she is. And Tennille Werners, I know her as well. Well done, the 3 of them, they're fighting it out.
Flying the flag.
Now, internationals, always good to have our internationals. That Derek Ramsey is still in is beyond me. Nigel Swinbank, our mate.
He's in the cricket,
You'll be touching base with him soon.
Yeah.
Good man. Calvin Cass.
Tony's son living in Bournemouth.
Ike Horsman and Neil Horsman.
And Twill's chirping. He was at the QPR Norwich last night, so he was at the ground. QPR end 0-0.
What was the half-time score? And then Stevie Potter,
yeah, Birmingham City man.
Guys still in. I'm going to run through these because it's interesting. Eric Nyrak, Jared Werners, he always seems to get into scrums. Connor McNeil, Dean Latimer.
Can you believe it? It's in Zimbabwe at the moment. Yeah.
Blaine Hamilton and Mark Nash. Smash going well. Captain Marvel, who's that?
Paul, discreet.
Okay, discreet. Sean Cullen.
Yeah.
Paul Duverge.
Yeah, Paul, Tony Cass's
Ravesh
cousin.
Badassi.
Yeah, he's always...
Clint Heap, nice see Clint going strong. Craig Williamson, do I know him?
Yep, one of Georgie's mates, Georgie Salentis.
Okay, got you. France Guet.
Yeah, Mansfield boy, one of Dude's boys in Joburg. His brother Robert's still in as well.
Colin McCabe.
Yeah.
Ravi Naidu, Robert Guet, as you say. Darren Fox,
Hollywood man,
good man. I think he's just got married and had a kid.
Okay.
Chris Herito.
Yeah.
Keith Airy, a long-time friend of mine. George Salensis, a previous winner.
Only winner still going.
Is he the only winner still going? Paul DeCarmo.
Yes.
Warren King. Peter Barker, good Spurs man. Yeah. Well done, Peter. Dick Goss.
Dave,
diehard Man United. Robbie Talon.
Yeah, my Juventus mate.
Greg Veal.
Yeah, former winner. Sorry, another former winner. Forgot about Greg.
Oh, so there's 2. So, but what's this Jason and James Fawkes? They're both
They work for Gary Green, yeah. It's father and son.
Okay, they're both
Jason works for Gary, yeah. It's a tag team.
Robbie Burns always seems to keep going into these tournaments. Breaks have got an idea. Dave Harker, James Harker.
Father and son.
Tote favourite, Grant Knowles.
Well, 3 for 3, and he's got good picks this week ahead.
Sure, so Knowles is the man, eh?
Yeah.
I think he's a
Newcastle man.
supporter.
Yeah,
he worked
Geordie,
up in Plumpton out that way when he did his training years ago. And 2 with 2 picks. Mark Curry, my mate, great Spurs man, and Rion Diaga.
Yeah, no, Rion very well. He's been in since the jump.
Okie dokie. Let's see. What is the weather like with Stevie B?
Yeah.
Steve, are you about?
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning.
I heard you mention weather. I think you need to build an ark here. We've had rain non-stop for the last day or so.
All right, so our timing in a couple of weeks' time is perfect.
Perfect. Getting all the rain out the way, Steve.
Yeah.
All right, Steve, Champions League. I'll get Paul's comment now. I'll watch the game too. Tottenham Marseille, what did you think?
You're asking me or?
Well, look, is that me or?
No, I'm asking you, Steve. I'll give you.
You go.
No, I think like most people watching it thought that Tottenham were a little bit fortunate. I mean, they conceded first, and it obviously was a bit worrying. Once they were back in at 1-1, but Marseille were on top most of the game. But ultimately, they dug deep, held on, and got a good winner at the end, and managed to finish top of the group, which I think was a tremendous result when all said and done. So they go into the draw. Knowing that they're going to avoid the Real Madrids and the Bayern Munichs.
Question for you. Did you think the Son injury helped them or hindered them? I think it helped them, pushing Bentancur a bit forward. I thought he was outstanding second half.
Yeah, I mean, they missed him when he wasn't available for a couple of games. And, he's been a really good... I think for all their sort of big-name signings, he's probably been the one that has really made a difference, I think.
Two summer signings. Sorry,
they're
Steve,
going
two
to miss.
summer signing.
They're going to miss Son. Yeah, you're right. They're going to miss Son now for the next 2 games, and there's the doubt as to if the operation isn't a success, whether he'll be available for South Korea, which I think would be a worry for them. But so we'll see.
Yeah, the game completely 2 odds. It's every week we talk about them, Budge. They're a very hard watch.
Yeah.
They play defensive rubbish. It just annoys me at halftime. I was irate. There was only one team in it. We hadn't a long-range shot from Harry's all we had. They got a good goal, unmarked. Gave away. Steve, we got a player for you, Sessignon. You can have him back.
Yeah,
I'll pay.
I know it's funny, but he scored a good goal for you last week.
Gee, even a blind Millie gets a bit of corn. He's absolutely rubbish. Taken off at half time again. Him and Moura can jump in the bay for all I care. But, we came back into it well with a different formation. And we could have lost 2-1 when the big
the far post. But you did hit the bar a few minutes earlier.
Yeah, we hit the bar. So I think we should have gone through from the game before, the week before. But I'm pleased we're through, but still very hard watch. I'd rather watch Fulham.
Yeah, no doubt. Fulham are good to watch.
Yeah.
Steve, the other game, Liverpool 2, Napoli 0. I didn't watch that because I was watching the Spurs game. I saw the highlights, 2 late goals.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think they were never going to score the 4 they needed against a team who are flying at the moment. And ultimately, 2-0. But it's a decent result. Probably gives them a little bit of confidence getting those 2 late goals. But for a team that won 5 out of 6, in some of the other groups, they would have finished top. So they just had to come up against a very, very strong Napoli side.
Yeah, I think Naples, all they were trying to do is make sure they didn't lose by 4 to secure the top spot.
Yeah.
Now, last night I missed 90 minutes of the game by the injury time. Chelsea looked woeful against Dynamo Zagreb. I know Chilwell going off for the hamstring's going to hinder them. I think they're in trouble, Steve. What do you think?
Well, it's interesting because Graham Potter was very disappointed with the result of the performance. So he put out on paper what was a pretty strong team last night. They'd won the group. He'd said that he wasn't going to play the kids basically, but the bits I saw, they really struggled to get going. They're just all right. I mean, Brighton was their first defeat since he'd been there, but and it was a poor defeat. So I can't see them going really deep into this competition once they come up against the big European teams.
Yeah, totally agree. I had one of my trebles last night. I was hanging on for dear life at 1-3. Steve, 2 games tonight. I'm sure Arsenal rest their main players against FC Zurich at the Emirates.
Yeah, I think they will. Obviously, they lost last time out, but I mean that's. I think that they will rest a lot of their key players for the game at the weekend. But they've got a reasonable squad. He'll give some of the others an opportunity. Yeah, and they should top the group.
Yeah, and the big game, Real Sociedad versus Man United. Yeah. United have to win by 2 clear goals to win the group. That's not an easy task.
No, not at all. But he's taking a relatively strong squad, although you've got players like Anthony and Martial and Sancho are all out. But I think he'll play a strongish team. Obviously, if they can go there and get a result and top the group, it's better. But they've qualified, so I don't think they need to risk anybody that's they're concerned about. But I wouldn't be surprised if they get something out there. But it might not be. It might not be by 2 goals. Yeah,
the only problem with that is if you finish second, you play one of the 8 Champions League teams that got knocked out to 3rd place. So he's going to have to go for it, which could hinder Sunday. And last but not least, West Ham travel to Star Bucharest.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to. I mean, they've won the group easily. He doesn't really have to risk anybody. So I would be surprised if he doesn't play, a number of the squad players. Yeah,
totally agree. Steve, on to the weekend. Fortunately, there's no lunchtime kickoff, so I can sleep in a little bit. But we're going to get the betting up now. But the first game, this 5 game Saturday, 5 game Sunday, is Leeds United versus Bournemouth. Obviously, Leeds had a great result at Anfield, winning 2-1, and Bournemouth 2-0 up, got beat 3-2. 8-10 Leeds. This is going to be a popular pick, I believe, in the last one standing. Are you on Leeds?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was after a number of really sort of sort of mixed displays. I mean, they really put on a good show at Liverpool and probably deserved it.
Yeah.
Bournemouth, on the other hand, have just started to slip a bit, and it was I mean, they did well to be 2 up against Spurs, but obviously let it go in the second half. I think Leeds should start as strong favourites here. I think the crowd will get behind them. Jesse March seems to have had a bit of a reprieve, and I think that they'll certainly. I think they'll set about. Depends if he's got all his players back. Bamford just can't seem to get going when he's brought him on. So whether or not he'll start with them or not, but they've got this young player, Somerville, young Dutch boy, who scored 2 in 2, scored the winner. It wouldn't be at all surprised if he might consider starting with him.
Yeah, the only thing is that they hadn't won in 8 games before that victory at Anfield, but I agree. I think they're good things. Hate to tell you, Steve, but 1 to 8 Man City, can we lump on?
Yeah, I think so. Look, the bookies rarely get it that wrong, and look, we don't have a particularly good record at the Etihad. I think all
nobody has.
We don't get, it's true. We don't pick up injuries. We don't get a real thumping, having just got our goal difference back to 0. If we got anything at all, would be an absolute miracle. So I'm expecting, especially as Pep keeps saying that Haaland should be back fit, which is all we want to hear. But I can see City by 2 or 3 comfortably.
See, I must say, I watched that Willian. I couldn't believe how well he played last week against Everton. I thought he must have a twin 18-year-old brother.
Well, he was fantastic.
Jeez, what a player he is. He's trying to get back in that Brazilian squad.
I mean, talk about, look, I mean, obviously Chelsea fans obviously rate him. Arsenal fans didn't like what he did there, but he was really keen to come back, and he is, the last couple of games he's been our best player, and it's interesting that the Everton defenders were backing off him because they were, I think they were scared to go in because he could just walk past them. But he has been a breath of fresh air for us, and ultimately we were pretty unlucky in the second half not to beat Everton.
Definitely should have won. Steve, you're 9 to 10 to score, so that's in my bets, no doubt. I think you'll score.
Okay. Yeah.
9 to 10 to score. Anyway, next game, big game for me at the bottom of the league. Notts Forest, you never know what they're going to do at the City Ground against a Brentford team that are in and out. How do you see it, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, Forest had a couple of semi-decent results and then came back down to earth with a poor second half showing against Arsenal. And Brentford, on the other hand, away, been fairly woeful, conceding 5 at Newcastle and 4 at Villa. So, this could go either way. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Brentford go there and hold them. Forest seem to start well and then sort of fade. So, I can see that being a very low-scoring game.
Yeah, I just think this has got draw written all over. They both remind me of the same style team.
Yeah.
Notts Forest are good from set pieces, so are Brentford. They get stuck in, the big boys up front. Now, that could go either way. Totally agree. Yeah. Now, in last week's performances, 12 to 10, Brighton should be a gift. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, I mean, Brighton, invariably are often better away from home.
Yeah.
But that was a very strong performance last week against the poor Chelsea side. I think Brighton rightly might well start as favourites.
Yeah, I totally agree. The funny thing is...
when did you last hear of a side scoring 3 own goals? I can't. The 3 own goals from Chelsea. Yeah. I can't think of a game where the team scored 3 own goals.
I've seen a few goalkeepers throw a few in, but not outfield players. But funny thing, Steve, Brighton's last 4 away games, 1 point. That was at Anfield, but strange. Yeah. But the way they've been playing, and Wolves can't score. I think they've scored 7 goals in 13 games. So.
Well, I think that's the thing. If Brighton score, then I think Wolves are going to find it tough. Yeah, when you look at the stats in the recent Wolves games, they've been giving it a go, but they just haven't. Without Raul Jimenez, they just seem to be missing something up front. Yeah,
that Diego Costa getting sent off at Brentford was a joke. But anyway, what do you expect from a madman? Last but not least, on Saturday, Steve, this should be a good game. Everton-Leicester. Hopefully Brendan Rodgers plays an attacking forward this week.
Yes, I mean, Leicester have picked up a bit. I mean, obviously they conceded a lot of goals earlier in the season, but their defence have been a lot tighter. Obviously they had a tough game last week, but only just lost to City. Everton played well at Fulham in the first half, but the second half they sort of reversed to tight. It was basically just long ball, all they were doing, and basically packing the defence. I think if Everton score first, I think they'll make it tough for Leicester to break them down. But I think Leicester going forward, still attractive to me. I mean, obviously Vardy is a worry. No goals this season. Rarely plays 90 minutes. So I think this could be his last big season. Big season if he doesn't score goals.
Yeah, a lot of good attacking players. I just think Everton, set piece wide will expose them. So of the two teams, I fancy Everton. On to Sunday, Steve, big game.
2 o'clock.
Chelsea, Arsenal.
Great game.
How do you see it?
Well, look, Chelsea, we know, are very in and out. I mean, they obviously can't put in another performance like they did at Brighton. Arsenal, on the other hand, are going to be looking at that thinking there's an opportunity here. I can see Arsenal avoiding defeat. I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea hold them, but if Arsenal, play the attacking style that they have done this season, I think, for me, Arsenal might slightly just edge it.
Yeah, my value bit of the...
Chelsea are good at home.
Yeah, it's true, but United had them over the rack and couldn't score.
Yeah.
So if they'd had I just don't like what I see from Chelsea. Obviously a big game. My value bet of the weekend, Arsenal 17-10. I think it's even money, Arsenal to score first.
Away from home.
Paul, I just don't like, Chelsea, the guys are getting injured left, right and centre. Arsenal will be nice and fresh. I fancy Arsenal. Okay. Next game, we've got Aston Villa, Man United. How do you see it, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, like Villa, having sort of bounced back from that defeat, Fulham with a sort of 4-0 win, and then and get hammered last week.
Yeah.
I think United, for me, should start as favourites.
Yeah, me too.
Obviously they've got 1 or 2 injuries, and we don't know who's playing tonight.
Yeah.
But I think United should just edge it.
That's too strong.
Yeah, they should be, but they're going to play their best team tonight, trying to win the group. That's my only concern. But
they've got enough players, but
yeah, I know, but Aston Villa, they'll give us a hard game. I'm not as confident as you guys, but I wouldn't be taking 11-10, that's for sure. Now, Southampton, Newcastle. I'd rather take 9-10 Newcastle. How do you see that against Southampton?
Yeah, I mean, Southampton look very in and out. I thought they played well second half against Arsenal, but Newcastle scoring goals for fun. I mean, they've hit sort of 4s and 5s over the last few weeks, and I think you've got players under Eddie Howe, players like Almiron, who everyone was sort of laughing at a year or so ago. He's got 7 goals already. Yeah. Joe Linton's playing well. Callum Wilson is trying to force his way back into the England squad. On his day, he's a strong player. So I think of the two, I fancy Newcastle.
Yeah, definitely. I think the goalkeeper's made a major difference at Nick Pope. When they're slinging the crosses in, he's catching them and punching them. I know he dropped one for England, but I think he's had a great... I think there'll be plenty of goals in this, but I fancy Newcastle. A game I can't get my head around, Steve. West Ham, Crystal Palace. I watched Crystal Palace last week against Southampton. The first half should have been 2 or 3. Second half, how Southampton never scored, I don't know. West Ham deserved a point at Old Trafford. But you just don't know. The week before against Bournemouth, I thought they were fairly fortunate. A draw at 26-10, Steve?
Yeah, it's probably not a bad ball. I think of the two, West Ham would start favourites.
Yeah.
But, Palace make themselves hard to beat. And it's whether or not they can get their sort of front 2 or 3 on the ball and, quickly. But I think West Ham at home probably just edge it. Yeah,
set piece will be crucial in that game. And last but not least,
6:30.
Tottenham, Liverpool. How do you see it, Steve?
Well, Tottenham without Son, they've been Paul would know, I mean, they've been so inconsistent in the league in particular. Obviously did well to come back at Bournemouth, but, before that, a couple of games before that, Liverpool, I mean, you have to assume that they've got to show a bit more fight than they did against Leeds. There's something obviously not quite right, but they've got Konate back. I think that might make a bit of difference. I think of the two, I do fancy Liverpool if there was to be a winner.
Yeah, Paul?
I think it'd be a draw. We're hard to beat at home.
Yeah.
We are very hard to. I know Newcastle beat us at home, but it could easily have not been a defeat. No, we had many games without getting beaten at home. I think we're very good at home. I think we're not going to miss Song that much. We haven't had much out of him. Moura has to raise his game, or throw a young man in. You know, Kulusevski, Richarlison aren't going to come back till after the World Cup. They know.
Yeah.
They don't want Kusong, as they might miss for South Korea. So I think they've got to throw someone. But it means against Liverpool we'll have Kane up there, maybe one other, and we'll be strong across the middle.
Yeah, that's my only concern is if you're going to let Liverpool have the ball, they do have creative players.
Very good.
You've got to expose Trent Alexander, and the
you've
way
got to put them
you
under.
can't park the bus.
No.
And I think Liverpool
I think
will
we're
score
a bit better.
goals.
We're a bit better out there. But
I just hope you
think
have a go. 'Cause if you
yeah.
sit back, I think you get beat.
Yeah, I agree.
Steve,
Tough game.
on to the championship. My boys, Friday night. Just to let you know, we got totally outplayed, especially in the second half against Swansea. But Andy Carroll, I saw him miss a few sitters the other day when they got beat at Luton. How do you see Friday's game going?
Yeah, look, I think, although I saw the stats and Swansea were totally on top, but your P&E's defence is strong.
Yeah.
I think if you score first, you make it hard for teams. Reading are very consistent. They had a good run a few weeks ago, but they've really not done much since. I can see this being a very low scoring draw here.
Yeah, Friday night will be on ESPN. If I can stay up, I'll definitely watch my boys. But we've won 3 out of 4, so sitting in 7th, 8th, just behind them. Another result here puts us in the mix. But this is could go either way for me. Big game of the weekend, Sheffield United against Burnley. Burnley seem to be getting every last-minute goal. They talk about Fergie time. What's it? Is it Vincent Kompany time? 10 minutes a winner?
It was 11 minutes of injury time, and they scored in the 10th minute, in the 100th minute. But they dug deep, and they had a lot of chances. But Rotherham, to be fair, gave them a go.
Yeah.
But look, they've only lost one all season. They're 5 points clear at the top, and they're grinding out results. Sheffield United have had a couple of good results recently, but I still fancy Burnley. I fancy Burnley to go there and get a result. They just seem to, sort of do whatever it takes, and they got the best. Not the best defensive record, but only one defeat all season. Yeah. And I think they'll avoid defeat at Sheffield as well.
Yeah, so do I. Blackburn, Huddersfield. Blackburn at home, almost invincible. 5 in a row. Away from home, they can't get a result. Huddersfield cost me a few rand when I went for Millwall last week, but they got beat 2-0 by Sunderland. 8-10 Blackburn, Steve?
Yeah, look, they got a crazy record. 11 wins and 8 defeats. It's I think you can forget the draw, but at home, as you say, they are strong. Huddersfield last night were probably a little bit unlucky when I saw highlights of the stats. They had quite a few chances, but they're bottom and Blackburn are sitting second. So I think Blackburn should win that.
Can you believe it? 2 Lancashire teams, 1 and 2. Another Lancashire team who in and out is Blackpool, hosting a Luton team who, by the hiding they got at Watford, are unbeaten in 10. Steve, do you see them continuing that good run?
I think so, but Blackpool have surprised me. They've started to wobble, had a couple of wins, but I think Luton are quite capable of going there and getting something. So I think Luton will avoid defeat. Whether they'll win, I'm not sure.
Okay. Michael Carrick takes his Middlesbrough team against Bristol City. I saw Nigel Pearson complaining about the goal. He was totally correct. It did get deflected. Middlesbrough, 8-10. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, I think they just seem to have woken up a bit, and they're clawing their way up the table, and I fancy them to win.
Okay. Now Millwall, I can't seem to catch, but drew 0-0 with Birmingham last night. At home against Hull City, Millwall, great home record. Steve, will it continue?
I think so. I think they should be too strong. They had a couple of chances to hit at Birmingham. I think they will be too strong. Hull have been had a couple of wins, but they've sort of back to form, and they've sort of lost 4 of their last. So I think Millwall should be too strong at home.
Yeah, it's amazing. Hull, terrible at home, but won the last 2 away. But Millwall, 4 wins at home. Totally agree, 9-10. Now the next game, the betting's got me a little bit amazed. 14-10 QPR against a West Brom team that are struggling.
The one midweek.
Yeah, I suppose maybe they just sort of feel that with West Brom with a new manager there, and they've eked out a win this week. But I think QPR should start as favourites. And it may be the betting just a little bit awry, but I think QPR will certainly start as favourites.
Yeah, won the last 3, unbeaten at 5 at home. Great point last night against Norwich. West Brom only scored late against Blackpool, so it's all QPR. Now, not in Norwich City, 12-10. I know their record isn't the greatest. They've only won 1, I think it's of the last 8. While Rotherham at home are dangerous, but Norwich, you've got to fancy the chances there, surely.
I think so. I mean, like highlights of the game last night, they hit the post a couple of times. Pookie should have scored. I think they're too strong. I fancy Norwich to edge that. All right.
I'm interested in your next comment on Stoke City versus Birmingham City. I watched Birmingham City beat QPR last week. They played really well. They've got a few Man United youngsters there. I don't see them losing at Stoke. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, look, Stoke are very inconsistent. I mean, literally, you just do not know what you're going to get. I mean, they beat a Paul Wiggins side last night, and Birmingham held Millwall. And I think you're right. I think Birmingham were capable of going there and getting something. Yeah. For me, it feels like it's a low-scoring draw again.
Yeah, 1-1 written all over it. Now, Sunderland till I die. Great result last night, winning 2-0 at Huddersfield against a Cardiff City team who conceded 2 set pieces to Watford. I watched the highlights this morning. I don't see Sunderland getting beat, Steve. Do you see it that way?
I fancy Sunderland of the two. Cardiff are pretty inconsistent. And I think Sunderland, a good result in the end for Sunderland last night. I think they'll fancy their chances to at home against them.
Yeah. Swansea too good for Wigan Athletic?
I would be very surprised if Swansea don't win that comfortably. Wigan, I think it's at five defeats in a row. Swansea, as you say, came unstuck at Preston, but had all the game. And I think that they'll bounce back and win by at least 2.
Yeah, it's 3-1 to win by more than 1, Steve, the handicap. But I agree, 4 wins in a row, Swansea, played good teams. I think the certainties. And last but not least, I think this is going to be a tight game. Watford, who won last night, great result, against a Coventry City team that are improving, Steve. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think there will be a good game. As we said, Coventry have just started themselves up and still got a game or 2 in hand. Yeah. But Watford, three wins in a row, I think they'll start as favourites.
Yeah, you fancy Watford, eh? Keep your brother happy.
Yep.
Steve, pressure time as always. I need your best bet, which I think I know what it is, and your value bet, please.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Swansea. Yeah. I think that on paper they should be winning this one. My value bet, I think I'm going to go for Burnley. I know it's going to be a tough game, but I think they should. For me, they should start as favourite. The top of the team only lost one in 19. Yeah. So I think it'll be a good game, but I fancy Burnley to go there and win a result.
It's amazing, these teams that we've got goal scorers, they're slowly starting to, like Watford and them, slowly starting to creep into the standings or upper standings. Steve, thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Take it easy. Pleasure. Be in contact over the weekend.
Thanks, Steve.
All the best.
Thank you.
Cheers. Right, that was Stevie B from the UK. Let's get on to MTN Cup final.
Yeah, it's in Durban, Paul.
It's in Durban. It's the big one. Orlando Pirates versus AmaZulu is a one-off.
One-off, Paul. Penal looks, and with our way, it'll be draw, extra time penalties, Paul. Yeah. I just worry, with the King got, had his function last week that the pitch isn't ruined. Yeah. Because one thing, I've watched a few games at Mozambique of late, Paul, the pitch has been terrible. I know we had the comrades. I don't know who the groundsman is, and with so much people on, it's hard work. But the last 16 meetings between them, Paul, AmaZulu haven't won.
Wow.
So that's my only concern. In the league, I've watched them a few times, but they've had their eye on this cup from the beginning of the season, Paul.
Yeah, they've beat some good sides going through.
Pirates beat Sundowns, so they make obviously 9-10.
And then Pirates lost to Chiefs last week.
Lost to Chiefs, the guy scored from his own half. Keeper.
So what do you think?
Paul, draw or Pirates? I think Pirates will lift the cup, Paul. I think it was 5-10, Pirates will lift the cup. But obviously we're funking for Lesotho.
All right, we always funk for Lesotho. Heba Lesotho,
yeah.
Right, let's have a look at the pick
Paul, our exotics for Saturday. Kick off with our score 6. I'm banking Leeds to beat Bournemouth, Man City to beat Fulham. I'm going the field in the Nottingham Forest-Brentford game. I don't see Brighton losing at Wolves. Going Watford win and draw at home against Coventry. And I'm going the field in the Everton-Leicester City clash 2-1-6.
Lovely.
On to other soccer six. I'm chancing Leeds are going to beat Bournemouth. Going Brentford to avoid defeat at Notts Forest. Brighton to avoid defeat at Wolves. Going Amazulu win and draw against Amazulu. Going Strasbourg win and draw at AC Ajaccio. And going Everton win and draw at home against Leicester 192. On to our score 10. I'm banking Bayern Munich to beat Hertha Berlin. Leeds to beat Bournemouth. Man City to beat Fulham. Brentford win and draw at Nottingham Forest, as well as Brighton win and draw away at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Our second page, I'm going Blackburn Rovers to be too good for Huddersfield Town. Going Norwich City win and draw at Rotherham United. Watford win and draw at home against Coventry City. And two fields, I'm going Atlanta Napoli in the Serie A and Everton Leicester 288. On to our soccer 13, I'm going Everton win and draw against Leicester. Banking Man City to beat Fulham, Leeds to beat Bournemouth, Brentford win and draw at Nottingham Forest, as well as Brighton win and draw at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Another away win and draw, I'm going Luton Town to avoid defeat at Blackpool. Going for Middlesbrough to win at home against Bristol City. On to the second page, I'm chancing QPR to beat West Brom, Norwich to beat Rotherham, siding with Birmingham City to avoid defeat at Stoke City. I don't see Sunderland losing at home to Cardiff City. I'm banking my best bet of the weekend and Stevie B's as well. Swansea City to beat Wigan, and I've thrown the draw in at Watford at home to Crystal Palace 256.
Right, give us the best bets.
Paul, our bets for the weekend, I'm going Leeds United to beat Bournemouth and over 2.5 total goals. I'm going Newcastle United to beat Southampton and both teams to score. Always a lover of James Ward-Prowse. And I'm going Arsenal at even money to score first against Chelsea.
Good man.
4,000 to 200. Our team goals only, I'm going Leeds United, Everton, Liverpool, and I'm going Fulham to score just one goal at Man City. 2,500 to 200. On to the championship. I'm going Blackburn to beat Huddersfield, Millwall to beat Hull, and Swansea to beat Wigan. And I'm going Birmingham City and Burnley, handicap +1, basically double chance. So they kind of win and draw Birmingham or Burnley, 3,400
so
to
Burnley
200.
draw, we're good.
Yeah, as long as they don't get beat, Paul, we're in the money. And the championship, both teams to score sides are Middlesbrough, Bristol City, Stoke, Birmingham City, Sunderland, Cardiff City, and Watford, Coventry City, 2,500 to 200. The PSL is we've only one game, so I've had to go to Spain and get a bit creative. I'm going Real Valid to beat winless Elche. I'm going Barcelona, Almeria, over 2.5 goals, and both teams to score no. So it's 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 in Barcelona's favour. And both teams to score in the two derbies, the Seville derby, Real Betis against Seville, and Rayo Vallecano versus Real Madrid, 3,000 to 200.
Both teams to score.
Yeah, Rayo will score. My boy will score. Radamel Falcao. And Real Madrid, the way they're defending at the moment, Celtic could have had 3 or 4 last night. So even money, both teams to score. And our Collis King, 6 on Nixa. I couldn't believe the price, Paul, because I think Man City will beat Fulham.
Yeah.
Newcastle will beat Southampton.
Yeah.
Millwall will beat Hull. Swansea will beat Wigan. Bayern Munich will beat Hertha Berlin, and this was a chance. It was 14 to 10. Inter Milan to beat Juventus. So that obviously inflates the price, Paul. The way Juventus played last night, they got 12 injuries, but they played great against PSG. But I think Inter Milan are a better team. So Sunday night, let's hope it's payday.
All right, well, that's excellent, Budge. Last one, Stanley. Let's go back to that. When are the bets got to be in by?
Got to be in by lunchtime on Saturday, Paul.
Lunchtime selection.
So I give the guys, it's a lot of pressure. Now, Norm, the first 2 weeks, it's quite simple. But as it gets on, guys start thinking. So
have some people still got Man City?
5 entries.
They're through.
Well, one's already come through, but you don't want to say anything, Paul. You just never know.
Yes.
It could be a Fulham supporter in the midst, so they may look elsewhere. But I think Leeds will be popular, Paul.
All right. Until next time, stay on side.